This is the plaintiff, Janet Janeski. She says she was going to purchase a townhouse for her recently divorced daughter and hired an inspector to check for any violations and radon leaks. The defendant, however, had a change of heart regarding the sale of the townhouse and backed out of the deal. She went through the expense of hiring the inspector, which turned out to be a waste of time and money. And so she's suing here today for the $725 she spent. This is the defendant, Barbara DeSpirito. She says she had every intention of selling the townhouse, but changed her mind because her life became a bit chaotic due to work issues. Her broker told her there'd be no penalty if she changed her mind as long as it was before a contract was signed. Since she had no such contract with the plaintiff, she owes her nothing. She's accused of going back on her word.
All parties, please raise your right hands.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Next case on the docket, the plaintiff hired the defendant to look for dangers in the townhouse that she was planning on buying, but the defendant pulled the plug on the deal, and now the plaintiff wants the defendant to pay for the inspector. But the defendant says there was never a firm deal. It's the case of mi casa, not su casa.
Litigants been sworn.
Thank you, Douglas.
You're welcome.
Okay, Ms. Janeski, you are suing Ms. DeSpirito for $725, the cost that you paid for a home inspection on the sale of a home where she ended up backing out of it.
Correct.
What happened?
Well, in early summer, I began looking for a home for my daughter. And
Wow, nice mom. You were going to buy it for her?
yes,
Okay.
she had just gone through a divorce.
Okay.
So I wanted it in this specific complex. And I was taken to the defendant's condominium that was for sale. I looked at it a couple of times. I made her an offer to purchase, a written offer to purchase. I paid the fee that goes with the binder, and we negotiated.
Meaning a deposit on the sale?
Correct.
Okay, and you signed a binder?
I signed a binder.
Which is essentially a contract agreeing to sign a contract later?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. And we negotiated back and forth for several weeks before we came up to a final price. She signed the binder back October 4th. After that, I had the binder in hand, the written binder in hand. The only condition that I had was a home inspection and radon test. I retained a home inspector who did the home inspection and the
And that person charged you $725?
Correct.
Do you have the receipt for that?
I do.
Okay, can I see that?
Yes, you may.
And then what happened? I assume your daughter's all excited?
Yes.
And was she going to live there alone or with
Her two children.
her two children, your grandchildren?
Correct.
And was it near you?
It was very close to me.
Okay.
And several days later, when I got the inspection back, I called my broker and I said, I'm ready to move forward. And
The
she
inspection was all right?
yes.
Okay.
And around the 18th of October, I got a call from my broker that the seller was not going to sell the condo, and she wasn't going through with the deal.
And this is what, October of last year?
2011.
Of 2011?
Right.
What happened?
What she said is true, Your Honor. I had the condo up for sale. I had to get out. I was a single parent. I had two teenagers living at home, so I wanted everybody out. I wanted them to become responsible, move on.
When you say teenagers, I assume you mean over 18?
Over 18.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Get out, you 13-year-old.
Yeah.
I had you about here.
They needed to go. They needed to go, but they didn't have their apartments. Nobody was ready to go at that point. My contingency was that the house sold as is.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
And I asked my realtor, look, do I still have time to back out? Because my kids aren't set. I'm not set. I had some other issues I was dealing
But
with.
why were you, you had a realtor, you put it up for sale, somebody bid, you negotiated,
Yeah.
and you signed a binder, don't you think?
Yep. And then I got.
what happened?
Then
that-
I got. This is the truth. I got cold feet. The
I
condo
want
was
the truth.
my mother. It was my mother. She had just passed away in March. I was still. She lived with me. It was rightfully it's her condo.
The trust gives the condo to whom upon your mother's death?
Me.
Okay, so it's your condo.
So
Go
it's,
ahead.
yeah, I get to
Yeah.
live there and downsize if necessary. It was necessary to downsize because financially it was too
Well,
much
you
to
own it.
handle.
You can do whatever you want.
Yeah.
Okay, but why'd you back out? Is
in
what I'm
her,
asking.
but in her will,
Yeah.
I had to be careful because there's other people. When I die, the house gets divided between other siblings.
Oh,
you see?
I see,
So
yeah.
it was very complicated, and I
Yeah,
had
but
to make.
see, you know that, and that's you sort of
I
think about that
know,
before.
I know,
So
Your
what
Honor.
actually happened to change your mind? All the things you're saying
Okay.
are facts that were there beforehand. What happened between the day you signed the binder and the day you tell your realtor I'm out?
So should this defendant have to pay for the inspection?
Yes.
Why?
It's a verbal contract. They agreed to it.
Okay, they even had something in writing, so should she have to pay?
Yeah, absolutely.
Why?
Just because they agreed to it, they wrote about it.
But it wasn't in a long formal agreement.
But still, they wrote right and signed their name. I still think they should.
Fair enough, going inside the courtroom.
Ma'am, I have such a simple question. Why did you back out? You're talking about, you're complaining about stuff on the binder you signed. I didn't sign it, you signed it.
I backed
So why'd
out.
you back out?
I backed out because I found out that my employer was moving. I didn't know where they were moving. My kids didn't yet have their apartments.
Okay.
And I was dealing with a lot of other things. Everything was caving in. It just wasn't the right time. Did I feel bad? Absolutely. I felt terrible about
But
it.
not bad enough to recompense her for her wasted $725 inspecting a home that you backed out of.
I understand that. But I also didn't sign a legal contract. It was a binder.
Right. What do you think a binder is? Binders have always thrown me for a loop anyway. The whole idea of agreeing to agree. We both agree we're going to agree. Well, alrighty then. What does that mean? I don't know, Go ahead.
I understood it as a binder is an agreement until you actually go into final contracts.
Okay.
You still have a right up until the time you go into actual contracts to back out. It binds them to the next step, I guess.
But you refused to get to the next step.
I know.
You pulled out unilaterally. So how can you look at it and say, I didn't have to, at a minimum, good faith negotiate the next step? First of all, everything had been negotiated. The purchase price was already set. The deposit was already set. You weren't going to get financing. It's an all cash deal.
It was a cash deal.
It is I think you're confusing two concepts.
Mm-hmm.
You can have an as-is sale. I have only sold houses in my life as is.
Mm-hmm.
But I have also only sold houses where buyers insisted on an inspection period. That
Mm-hmm.
doesn't mean it's not as is. It means the buyer has X days, whatever you negotiate. Usually I've seen them around 10, I don't know what you negotiate, to have an inspection period.
Mm-hmm.
They bring an inspector in, then the inspector and they huddle, and then she says, I'm out.
Mm-hmm.
That's what that means. You don't have to fix anything. What happens in practicality is that you want to sell your house, she wants to buy it, but she just found out there's a $5,000 termite tenting bill or whatever. None of this has any bearing on anything because the truth of the matter is that what happened is that you got cold feet. Did you end up selling the place?
Yes.
For more or less?
And okay, here's the kicker, Your Honor. I hurt myself because I ended up selling for $5,000 less than what they were giving me.
The purchase price was $5,000 less?
Yes.
Is there no end to how these children suck the life out of us?
I know. To have my kid, in order for my kids to have more time to get themselves in order.
Did the realtor charge you for the failed deal, for this failed deal?
No. I didn't hire that other one back because she was part of the problem.
What was the problem? You didn't tell me her name, just tell me what she did wrong.
She wasn't keeping me updated. We went from August to October, and at August I wasn't planning to sell it. I said, no, forget it. And then this comes back to me with a date of August. I'm saying in August I wasn't even
That was just
considering
a typo,
selling it.
right? Like, it's just somebody wrote the wrong date.
Actually, the original offer was made in August.
What happened between August and October?
There was negotiations.
Oh, okay.
On
And then
price.
on the price,
Yeah.
back and
Yeah,
forth.
back and forth. And
Yeah, yeah.
At that time I wasn't even going to go ahead
Okay.
with it.
All right. Binders have always thrown me for a loop anyway because they're not. It's sort of the concept is sort of weird. However, let's look at the binder in this case, and they are, enforceable to some extent. Did you hand me the binder? All right. In the binder, it says there are 3 conditions. One is that the contract of sale are to be signed, and the balance of the deposit is to be made before September 4th. 2 was scratched out, which is financing, and 3 was an inspection. But was there a date? Did you have 10 days to do an inspection? How did that work?
I believe it had to be done within 7 days.
Yeah. All right. In any event, in every binder, the intent of the parties is that there's going to be another contract. Okay, that this isn't all she wrote, that there's going to be something else. However, that doesn't mean, if the binder means nothing, then why sign it and why call it a binder? At a minimum, it always has to mean that you're not going to sell it to somebody else while the binder's in effect. At a minimum, it's going to mean that you have to hand over the money the binder talks about. Well, what else does it mean? I believe that in the circumstances of this case, at a minimum, it means that there's going to be some good faith sitting at a table because you've agreed to agree. You pulled out completely for whatever reasons that you had, and that's fine. What I don't understand is why you wouldn't attempt to recompense her for the money she totally wasted by you pulling out. Because you know that she had a bill. Did she ever send you the bill? Did anybody ever ask you to pay for the bill, or you just got sued?
No, yeah. Once I backed out, my realtor calls me and says, Barbara, they're going to sue you. So I said, okay, they're going to sue me. So I was waiting for something to come. And then
the lawsuit came.
Yeah, and then nothing came until my house was just sold now, like a month ago. And then I guess when they found out I sold the house, it rekindled old memories. So they figured, okay. And that's what happened. So then I finally got the thing in the mail. So I was going to, try to do the right thing.
And yet you're here. Okay. So
here.
I find in favor of the plaintiff in the amount of the $725 plus your court costs.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Thank you.
And so the defendant comes out here because that defense, was that your defense? What was your defense exactly? What
My
was it
defense
exactly?
was I didn't have a libel contract. It was a binder. That was my
binder.
defense, right.
Right. And what is a binder?
What is a
big
binder?
question.
I guess I just found out the answer.
Yeah, it's a legal contract.
That's it. I guess so.
And so you couldn't sell at the time because
I had issues.
circumstances.
My kids weren't ready. Nobody was ready.
Why don't you kick these kids out already?
I did. This next time they're out. They're out. Now life goes on for me now.
All right. Good to be here. All right, good luck in the next
Thank you very much.
next phase.
Okay, thank you.
All right, head right down there. All right, so come on in here. Step on in here. You satisfied how this comes out?
I'm completely satisfied.
How badly did it screw things up for you when
Well,
she
it took
went?
me another 5 months to find another place.
And did it work out okay? Is it better?
It did.
Even better, maybe? These things sometimes.
Yes.
All right, so all's well.
Yes.
So what is a binder?
A binder is a contract.
Harvey?
There is a concept called good faith negotiation. It's implied really in every contract, and all judges enforce it.